What if she's also doing no contact with you? Picture this. You've taken a step back, holding firm, following the plan. No texts, no calls, you're playing it cool, trying to focus on yourself. But then it hits you. She's doing the exact same thing. The silence stretches on, day after day. It starts as a subtle tension, a nagging thought in the back of your mind. Is this working? But as the hours turn into days and the days into weeks, it begins to consume you. Doubts creep in. You wonder, is she thinking about me, or has she moved on? Is she testing me, or does she even care? This is where most people break. The silence feels unbearable, like a battle you can't win because you don't even know the rules. You might feel like reaching out is the only way to regain control, but that's where you'd be wrong. Because here's the truth. Her no contact isn't just a passive reaction. It's a deliberate move, a calculated action designed to shift the balance of power. But here's the thing. Silence only has power if you allow it to control you. What if I told you that this moment, this uncomfortable silence, isn't your enemy? In fact, it's your greatest opportunity. Welcome to Stoic Blessing, where we turn challenges into opportunities and teach you how to master the art of life using ancient Stoic wisdom and the tactical insights of dark psychology. Today, we're diving into a topic that has left countless people frustrated, confused, and on the verge of losing their cool. What to do when she's also doing no contact. This isn't just about ignoring each other or playing games. No contact is a psychological and emotional battleground. But here's the thing. It's not about winning or losing. It's about mastery. It's about you. The Stoics had a phrase, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In this situation, the key isn't to worry about what she's doing or why. The key is to shift your focus inward and control what you can. Your own actions, your mindset, and your emotions. Because here's the secret, no contact isn't a game of who caves first. It's a test of who can stay grounded in their power. But let's not stop there. Let's add an edge to this. Dark psychology tells us that in any dynamic, the person who is the most unpredictable, the most composed, and the least reactive always has the upper hand. Her silence might feel like a challenge, but it's also her revealing her hand. And when you understand this, you'll see that no contact isn't about her at all. It's about you taking control of your narrative, your emotions, and your future. Now, before we go deeper, let's make a commitment together. Drop a comment below with the phrase, I choose power over reaction. Let that be your declaration today. Because this isn't about chasing anyone or falling into their frame. This is about standing tall, rooted in your strength, no matter what happens. And if you're ready to take this journey with me, hit that like button to support the channel. Not only does it help us grow, but it signals to the world that you're here to master your life, not be a victim of it. So, what happens when she's also doing no contact? And more importantly, what should you do? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you won't just understand the dynamics at play. You'll know how to flip the script, reclaim your power, and use this situation to become the most unshakable, magnetic version of yourself. No contact is more than a strategy. It's a philosophy. At its core, it's about detachment, self-control, and shifting the focus back to yourself. But here's where most people go wrong. They think no contact is just about creating space for the other person to miss them. It's not. It's about creating space for you to reclaim your power. Let's break this down. The ancient Stoics believed in the concept of apatheia, freedom from passion or disturbance. They taught that the only things you can truly control are your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. Everything else, what others think, feel, or do, is outside of your power. When you truly internalize this, you realize something profound. No contact is a test, but it's not her test. It's your test. Think about it. Why does silence feel so uncomfortable? Why does the absence of communication spark so much anxiety? The answer lies in attachment. When you're attached to someone's response, their validation, or even their presence, you give them control over your inner world. No contact forces you to confront this attachment and choose a new path: detachment. Now, detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop relying on someone else for your sense of worth or happiness. It means you stand firm, knowing that your value doesn't diminish just because someone isn't reaching out to you. This is the foundation of Stoic strength, remaining calm and composed, no matter what storm is raging outside of you. But there's more to it. From a psychological perspective, no contact also shifts the power dynamic. It interrupts patterns of expectation. If she's used to you always reaching out, always chasing, your silence speaks volumes. It creates a void, one she'll notice. But here's the trick. Your silence isn't meant to manipulate her. It's meant to free you. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you truly felt at peace in your own skin, without needing someone else to validate it? That's the real goal of no contact. It's not about winning her back. It's about rediscovering the person you are when you're not tethered to someone else's actions. Now, let's take a moment to reflect. If you're resonating with this idea of reclaiming your power, drop a comment below with the phrase, "Silence is my strength." Let's remind ourselves that detachment is the ultimate form of self-respect. And if this is hitting home, smash that like button to show you're ready to master your emotions and take control of your life. No contact isn't a punishment for her. It's a gift for you, a gift of clarity, strength, and self-mastery. No contact doesn't just operate on logic. It taps into something deeper, something primal. This is where dark psychology comes into play. Whether we admit it or not, humans are wired to respond to scarcity, unpredictability, and mystery. And no contact embodies all three. Think about this. When something is always available, we take it for granted. But when it disappears, when it becomes scarce, we start to crave it. This is the psychological principle of scarcity at work. When you go silent, you create a void that wasn't there before. Suddenly, the attention, the validation, and even the energy you used to pour into her is gone. And here's the kicker. Most people won't realize how much they valued something until it's no longer there. But no contact is more than just scarcity. It's unpredictability. Humans are creatures of habit. We find comfort in patterns and predictability. If she's used to you always being the one to text first, to initiate plans, or to respond instantly, your silence disrupts that pattern. It creates a sense of uncertainty, and in the realm of relationships, uncertainty is one of the most powerful emotional triggers. It forces her to wonder, what's he thinking? Is he over me? Is he talking to someone else? Now let's talk about mystery. The less you reveal, the more people want to know. When you stay silent, when you resist the urge to explain yourself or seek closure, you create an aura of intrigue. Dark psychology tells us that mystery is magnetizing because it leaves the mind searching for answers. Silence is like a blank page. It forces the other person to fill in the gaps with their own thoughts and emotions. But here's the important part. None of this works if your silence comes from a place of desperation or anger. If you're sitting there staring at your phone, counting the days and hoping she'll reach out first, you're missing the point. True power comes from detachment. Your silence has to come from a place of inner strength, not from a desire to manipulate or control. So how do you use this knowledge effectively? You shift your focus from her to yourself. You use this time to build your life, to become the most grounded and magnetic version of yourself. When your silence is rooted in confidence and self-respect, it carries a completely different energy. Take a moment now and reflect. Are you willing to step into this power? If so, drop a comment below with the phrase, I am the master of my silence. Let's affirm that we're not here to play games. We're here to own our worth. And if you're finding this perspective valuable, hit that like button to show your commitment to becoming your best self. Remember, no contact isn't about punishing her or making her miss you. It's about stepping back so you can rediscover your strength, your focus, and your value. Let's flip the script for a moment. Why might she also be doing no contact with you? It's easy to assume she's indifferent or has moved on, but the truth is often more complex. Her silence might not mean what you think it does. First, let's acknowledge one possibility. She could be mirroring your behavior. This is a classic psychological response. If you've gone silent, she might see it as a challenge, a power play, or simply a sign that you need space. So instead of breaking that silence, she mirrors it. It's not necessarily about control. It could also be about self-preservation. Second, she might be using no contact for her own reasons. Maybe she's reflecting on the relationship, taking time to heal, or testing her own boundaries. Remember, no contact isn't just something you're doing. It's something she might be doing for herself. And if that's the case, it has less to do with you and more to do with her own journey. But here's where it gets interesting. Her silence might also be a test. This is where dark psychology comes into play again. People often use no contact to gauge the other person's reaction. If she reaches out and you don't respond, it shifts the dynamic. If you reach out first, it shifts it in another direction. She might be looking to see if you'll break the silence, if you'll chase, or if you'll stay grounded. And how you respond, or don't respond, will reveal a lot about your emotional strength. There's another possibility to consider. She could be trying to regain control. If she felt like she was losing power in the dynamic, maybe you were pulling away, or she felt undervalued. No contact is a way for her to reset the balance. It's her way of stepping back and reclaiming her sense of agency. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, she might be waiting to see what kind of person you become during this silence. This is key. In the space of no contact, people are often forced to reflect on who they were in the relationship and who they are without it. If you've been growing, working on yourself, and becoming more grounded, that energy will be felt, even from a distance. So, what do you do with this knowledge? You let her silence be hers. You don't analyze, overthink, or try to control it. Instead, you use this as a reminder that her actions are outside of your control. What you can control is how you show up for yourself. Now, let me ask you, what kind of person are you becoming during this time? If you're ready to step into a version of yourself that commands respect and radiates confidence, drop a comment below with the phrase, "I thrive in my silence." Let's affirm that we're not just surviving this moment, we're growing through it. And if this resonates with you, don't forget to hit that like button to show your commitment to mastering your emotions and actions. Her no contact doesn't define you, it reveals you, and this is your chance to show yourself who you really are. Here's where the rubber meets the road. When faced with her silence, most people make the critical mistake of chasing. They break no contact, reach out with a text, or try to force a conversation just to ease their own anxiety. But here's the reality. The moment you chase, you surrender the narrative. Let me explain. When you chase, you're signaling that her silence has power over you. You're confirming that your emotions are tied to her actions, and that shifts the dynamic completely. Instead of being in control of your own story, you become reactive, a passenger in a car that someone else is driving. But Stoicism teaches us that control of the self is the only true control we have. The second you hand that control over, you lose your footing. The Stoics have a saying, "He who is brave is free," brave enough to sit with the discomfort, brave enough to resist the impulse to react. When you chase, you're not being brave, you're being fearful. You're letting fear of loss, fear of rejection, or fear of the unknown dictate your actions. But when you stay grounded, You communicate something completely different. You say, "I am enough as I am. I don't need to force anything." Now let's talk about what happens when you don't chase. When you stay calm, composed and in control, you shift the focus back to you. You reclaim the narrative. Silence becomes your ally, not your enemy. It creates an air of confidence, strength, and mystery. Remember what we talked about earlier. Humans are drawn to scarcity and unpredictability. When you're silent and unshaken, you become both. But here's the key. This isn't about playing games or trying to manipulate her into reaching out. This is about embodying a deeper truth. When you control the narrative, you're not trying to force a specific outcome. You're simply living in alignment with your own values and principles. You're showing that you respect yourself enough to let things unfold naturally. And here's a hard truth you need to hear. Chasing doesn't speed up the outcome you want. It delays it. Think about it. If she's also doing no contact to reset the dynamic or test your strength, breaking the silence prematurely only confirms her doubts. But if you hold firm, if you stay true to your path, you show that you're someone who doesn't crumble under pressure. That energy is magnetic. Now, take a moment and ask yourself, are you ready to control the narrative? If you are, drop a comment below with the phrase, "I control my story." Let's affirm that we're not here to chase, we're here to rise above the noise. And if you're finding value in this perspective, hit that like button to show your commitment to mastering yourself and your emotions. Remember, true strength isn't about forcing your will on someone else. It's about standing firm in your own power. If no contact is a test, then emotional fortitude is the key to passing it. But how do you build the kind of inner strength that keeps you grounded no matter what she does or doesn't do? The answer lies in Stoicism, a philosophy designed to help you thrive in the face of uncertainty and adversity. Let's start with a core principle of Stoicism, focusing only on what you can control. You can't control her thoughts, her actions, or her emotions. You can't make her break the silence, miss you, or reach out. But you can control your response to the situation, and this is where your power lies. The stronger you become emotionally, the less her actions, or lack of them, will affect you. One powerful tool for building emotional fortitude is negative visualization. The Stoics practiced this to prepare themselves for life's challenges. Take a moment and imagine the worst-case scenario. What if she never reaches out again? What if this chapter is truly over? Sit with that thought, not to scare yourself, but to neutralize its power. When you face the worst in your mind, you'll realize that even if it happens, you'll be okay. This mental exercise trains you to detach from outcomes and find peace in the present moment. Another tool is journaling. When the silence starts to weigh on you, instead of reaching for your phone, grab a notebook. Write down your thoughts, your feelings, and your fears. Journaling gives you clarity. It helps you process emotions and recognize patterns in your thinking. Over time, you'll notice that the urge to react fades as you gain more control over your inner world. Mindfulness is another practice that can anchor you during this time. The Stoics believed in being fully present, no matter the circumstances. When you catch yourself spiraling, wondering if she's thinking about you or if you should reach out, pause, take a deep breath. Bring your focus back to the present. Remind yourself, the only thing that truly exists is this moment. The past is gone, and the future hasn't arrived. But perhaps the most transformative Stoic practice is the idea of amor fati, loving your fate. This means embracing everything that happens to you, good or bad, as part of your journey. If she's also doing no contact, don't resist it. Accept it. Trust that this experience is shaping you into a stronger, wiser, more self-aware person. Here's a question for you. Are you willing to use this time to build your emotional fortitude? If you are, drop a comment below with the phrase, "I master my emotions." Let's remind ourselves that strength isn't something we're born with. It's something we cultivate. And if this resonates with you, smash that like button to show your commitment to self-mastery. Remember, no contact isn't just about her. It's about who you become in the process. Build your emotional fortitude, and nothing, not her silence, not anyone's actions, will ever shake you again. So, what should you do when she's also doing no contact? The answer isn't about reacting, it's about responding strategically. And responding strategically doesn't mean texting her with a carefully crafted message or posting something subtle on social media to get her attention. It's about aligning your actions with your values, your growth, and your goals. The first step in responding strategically is to resist the urge to break the silence. Remember, your silence is a statement. It says, "I respect myself enough to give both of us the space to reflect." Breaking that silence impulsively sends the opposite message, that her actions control you and you're seeking validation. The moment you reach out from a place of fear or insecurity, you've lost the high ground. Next, focus on what you're projecting into the world. Whether or not she's watching, use this time to level up. Work on your physical health, your mindset, your career, or your passions. This isn't about making her jealous or trying to provoke a reaction. It's about showing up for yourself. When you live a life that's full, purposeful, and aligned with your values, that energy radiates outward. Another critical part of responding strategically is timing. If and when the time comes to reconnect, let it happen naturally. If she reaches out first, don't jump at the chance to reply immediately. Take your time, stay calm, and remember your worth. Your response should come from a place of confidence, not desperation. If you're the one initiating contact after a long period of no contact, keep it simple. Avoid over-explaining or diving into deep emotions. Instead, approach it with curiosity and openness. A simple, casual message can go a long way. For example, "Hey, I've been reflecting and thought of something we talked about. I'd love to hear how you're doing." This signals that you're thoughtful, composed, and still invested in meaningful communication without sounding needy or emotional. But here's the most important part. Whatever happens next, stay detached from the outcome. If she responds positively, great. If she doesn't, that's okay too. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control: our intentions, our actions, and our mindset. The outcome is not ours to dictate. This strategic approach also leverages an important psychological concept: contrast. By remaining calm and composed, you stand out from the majority of people who react impulsively. Your grounded energy becomes a point of intrigue. It shows strength, maturity, and emotional intelligence, qualities that are rare and magnetic. So, let me ask you, are you willing to approach this with strategy, not emotion? If you are, drop a comment below with the phrase, "I respond, I don't react." Let's affirm that our actions come from a place of power, not insecurity. And if you're finding this perspective empowering, don't forget to hit that like button to show your commitment to mastering your approach. Remember, responding strategically isn't about controlling her. It's about controlling yourself, and in that control lies your greatest power. Here's a mindset shift that changes everything. Stop viewing reconnection as the ultimate goal. Reconnection, if it happens, should be a byproduct of your personal growth, not the reason for it. This is where most people struggle. They use no contact as a tactic to get her back, and in doing so, they miss the deeper purpose: becoming someone who doesn't need to chase, force, or depend on external validation. Think about it. If your entire focus during no contact is on when or how she might come back, you're not truly detaching. You're still tied to the outcome. But Stoicism teaches us that our efforts should be rooted in virtue and self-mastery, not in controlling others. True power lies in being content with whatever the outcome may be, knowing you've acted with integrity and strength. This perspective shift frees you from the mental prison of what if? What if she doesn't come back? What if she's moved on? These questions lose their weight when you realize that your value isn't determined by her actions. Instead of asking what if, start asking, who am I becoming through this process? When you shift your focus inward, something incredible happens. You start to rebuild your sense of self, independent of the relationship. You start to recognize your own worth, not as something she gives you, but as something you've always had. And here's the irony. It's often when you let go of the need for reconnection that it becomes most likely. Why? Because people are drawn to those who are whole, confident, and self-sufficient. Let's take this a step further. What if, instead of waiting for her to come back, you decided to view this silence as a gift, a chance to reflect on what worked in the relationship, what didn't, and what you want moving forward, whether with her or someone else? This isn't about settling. It's about leveling up. The Stoics remind us that the obstacles we face are not barriers. They are the path. Marcus Aurelius said it best. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Her silence, this period of no contact, isn't in your way. It's showing you the way to growth, strength, and clarity. So, here's the question. Can you let go of the outcome and trust the process? If you're ready to embrace this mindset, drop a comment below with the phrase, "I let go to grow." Let's affirm that our worth isn't tied to what someone else does. It's tied to the person we choose to become. And if this message resonates, hit that like button to show your commitment to living with intention and clarity. Reconnection is a possibility, but it's not the goal. The goal is to become the strongest, most authentic version of yourself, and that's a gift no one can take from you. Now that you've shifted your perspective on reconnection, it's time to take things further. What if you used this period of no contact not just to survive, but to transform? What if you turned what feels like a loss into a power move that redefines who you are? Here's the truth. Silence can feel like weakness, but when you approach it the right way, it becomes your greatest strength. Every day that you don't react, don't chase, and don't seek external validation, you're training yourself to be more resilient, more composed, and more magnetic. This is how you turn no contact into a power move, by focusing on who you're becoming, not what you're losing. Start by mastering the art of unpredictability. Remember, people are drawn to what they can't fully understand or control. When you stop being the person she expects, the one who always reaches out, reacts, or seeks closure, you create an air of mystery. This doesn't mean playing games. It means evolving into someone so grounded, so confident, that you don't feel the need to explain or justify your silence. Next, embrace the idea of transformation. Use this time to focus on areas of your life that might have been neglected during the relationship. Dive into your health, your hobbies, your career, or your friendships. Become someone who is constantly leveling up. When you invest in yourself, you not only build confidence, but you also send a powerful message. You're thriving, not just surviving. But here's where the real power lies. Detachment. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. The Stoics believed that the less you depend on external circumstances for your happiness, the freer you become. When you detach from the need for her to validate you, you become untouchable. Your silence is no longer about waiting for her. It's about honoring yourself. Another key to turning this into a power move is to stay unpredictable. Post something new you're working on. Share a project, a win, or an adventure, but not to get her attention. Do it because you're genuinely living your life. When your actions come from a place of authenticity, they naturally create intrigue. Finally, make sure your energy matches your transformation. When she does reach out, and trust me, the likelihood increases when you're thriving, don't fall back into old patterns. Respond with composure, confidence, and curiosity. Let her see that you've changed, not to impress her, but because you chose to grow. Let me ask you this. Are you ready to turn this silence into your strongest move yet? If you are, drop a comment below with the phrase, "I turn silence into strength." Let's affirm that this isn't just a waiting game, it's a growth game. And if this resonates with you, smash that like button to show your commitment to transforming your life. Remember, a power move isn't about forcing outcomes, it's about becoming someone so grounded, so confident, that nothing and no one can shake you. So what happens if she's also doing no contact? The answer is simple. You let her. You let her silence be her choice, while you focus on making your silence your strength. This isn't about waiting for her to make a move or playing a game to get a reaction. It's about stepping into a version of yourself that doesn't need to chase, doesn't need validation, and doesn't break under pressure. The key takeaway here is this. No contact is not a punishment for her. It's an opportunity for you. It's a chance to build emotional fortitude, reclaim your power, and embrace a life where your worth isn't tied to someone else's actions. Whether or not she reaches out, you'll walk away stronger, wiser, and more aligned with who you're meant to be. The Stoics remind us to live by virtue, not by the outcome. Whether this chapter ends in reconnection or closure, the real victory is in how you handle yourself. Your silence, your growth, your transformation. These are the things that define you, not whether she picks up the phone. Let me ask you one last time. Are you ready to rise above this moment and use it to grow? If you are, drop a comment below with the phrase, "I own my silence." Let's make this declaration together, that we're not here to wait or chase, we're here to thrive. Before you go, make sure to like this video if it gave you clarity and empowerment. Your support not only helps this community grow, but it shows that you're committed to living with intention and strength. And don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Blessing for more insights on how to master yourself, navigate life's challenges, and turn adversity into opportunity. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Together we're building a community rooted in wisdom, power, and resilience. Thank you for watching. Remember, your silence is your strength, and your power lies within. Until next time, stay strong, stay grounded, and as always, choose power over reaction.